be alright. Instead of asking how much of your time is left, ask how much of your mind, baby.
Welcome to another episode of the Curtis Zone. I, of course, am your ever so awesome host, Dylan J. Curtis, and I ask that you remember to hit the like and subscribe button. Because if you're liking what you're seeing, you need to hit the like button. If you want to see more, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, and of course, share this with other people if you want them to see it as well. Today, we're doing an episode on another Mortal Kombat character, and his name is Rain. We have asked ourselves, how powerful would Rain be if he had the Millennium item, Mighty Max's Cap of Destiny, and the Power Sword from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers? So, let's get started, ladies and gentlemen. And of course, remember to hit that like and subscribe button. Now, before we get started, as always, news. The first piece of news is this. I hope that everyone has seen the cast list for Avengers Doomsday. We have a lot of returning characters, a lot of new characters. The Fantastic Four are going to be there. And of course, reprising their roles from X-Men, you've got Patrick Stewart, Ian McKellen, and Rebecca Romijn, all reprising their roles as Magneto, Charles Xavier, and Mystique. Also joining them will also be Cyclops and Gambit. I personally can't wait. It's because people are saying that it's secretly an Avengers vs. X-Men movie. But hey, let's just wait for that, shall we? The second piece of news is this. Disney has announced that they will be making a new Power Rangers series. This comes as a surprise because Disney severed ties with Power Rangers because they wanted to buy Star Wars. So, I hope that it's as good as we hope it is because they didn't take my idea. You see, my idea was to imagine this. Once upon a time, but instead of fairy tale characters, Power Rangers. Huh? Yeah. The final piece of news is this. The Lantern series has gotten halfway through its filming process. And right now, even though it's halfway through, they've already started the post-production process. I think that is pretty straightforward for them because DC really needs to put something out there as soon as possible. Now let's get started with this episode. Remember to hit the like and subscribe button. We've asked ourselves, how powerful would Mortal Kombat's Rain be if he had Mighty Max's Cap of Destiny, the Millennium Puzzle, and of course the Power Sword from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers? Let's get this party started, and of course remember, hit the like and subscribe button. Now for those of you who do not know how these How Powerful Would Someone Be episodes work, here's how it goes. I, your amazing host, Dylan J. Curtis, talk about the character, then I talk about how powerful they currently are, and then I add a bunch of stuff to their current power, and then you, the viewer, tell me how powerful you think the character would be if they had this stuff combined to their own power. Let's get started, everybody. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button and get in that comment section down below if you think that tell me how powerful you think Rain would be if he had all this stuff combined to his own power. As far as his non-fiction origin goes, he was created by Ed Boon and John Tobias, and he made his first debut in Mortal Kombat 3. Now, here's the thing about Rain, okay? He's a purple ninja, and Ed Boon created him as a slight nod to Prince in the album/movie Purple Rain. Oh, I get it. Purple Rain. Clever, Ed Boon. Real clever. Anyway, the character became a wide success amongst a lot of people. He even has had a lot of appearances in a lot of other Mortal Kombat games. He was a cameo character in Mortal Kombat X, a DLC in Mortal Kombat 11, and he's been a character in Mortal Kombat 1. Now with that out of the way, let's talk about his fictional origin, shall we? Now there are three main origins that I want to talk about when it comes to Rain. The first is his first origin for pre-Mortal Kombat 11. He is the son of a relationship out of wedlock. He's a baby out of wedlock of a son of a demigod Argus and his mother Amara. However, in order to hide his shame, the demigod Argus kidnapped Rain and took him to Outworld, where he would be handed over to a general. However, that when it was known as Adinia, this general and his fellow generals would lose in a tournament against Shao Kahn, and so it would fall to Shao Kahn, and it would become Outworld. However, Rain grew up being trained by this general, and so he would offer his life in servitude of the Khan in order to find out what happened to his family. And once he did, he was angry. This would lead us to his ending in Mortal Kombat 11, where he would take Kronika's hourglass. He found out about his mother dying alone and the fact that he was taken away by his father. So he would kill his father and his half brothers. This would leave the Earth to plunge into chaos. This was until Liu Kang's timeline. However, that's all we know about his ending in Mortal Kombat 11. This will lead us to Liu Kang's new timeline, where he will become Mage Rain. As part of Mortal Kombat 1, Liu Kang's new timeline, he would strip Rain of his divinity, and because of this, he and his mother would grow up with his mother and live a very happy life. And he would train to become the High Mage of Outworld and earn the favor of Queen Sindel, who invited him onto her court. However, given all this favor, he would join General Shao's rebellion. This would lead him to break Sindel's heart. However, after the rebellion in Outworld, Rain would go to Chaos Realm, where he would help Havoc cause a massive flood in order to plunge Order Realm into chaos and turn it into Chaos Realm. This, however, the last one we're going to talk about is the Emperor Rain storyline. In the Emperor Rain storyline, here's how it goes. In this new timeline, that the Emperor Rain storyline, Rain would not join the ranks of General Shao in order to dethrone Queen Sindel. In fact, instead, it was Li Mei, and she would help Shao Kahn, General Shao, Reiko, and the three of them would dethrone Queen Sindel. However, in the process, they would kill General Shao. This would lead Reiko and Li Mei to assume the throne of Outworld. However, Rain would team up with Tanya, and the two of them would dethrone Li Mei and Reiko and engage in a marriage. This was amazing. This would lead Havoc to conquer their world and plunge it into chaos, and so the two of them will perform a rebellion against Havoc and fight against him, and this would lead to Emperor Rain's imminent demise. As far as Rain's powers go, he has the power of hydromancy. He has the power of hydrokinesis, meaning that he controls water, my friends, and he can control it at a submolecular level. One of his main fatalities in Mortal Kombat 11 is him using a giant blade made of water, a giant disc made of water, to slice a guy in half and use the water pressure to rip apart all of his skin and flesh and bones. It was pretty awesome. Being trained in Outworld, he's also an extremely great martial artist. Having expertise in water magic is just secondary, but he's a very skilled martial artist. So good, in fact, that he fought Kotal Khan. Now, his hydromancy powers go just beyond him just using water. He also has a staff with a little water ball on it that I found awesome, my friends. And that staff can do all sorts of things. With water, he can slice things in half. He can blow stuff up. He can use his water powers to hold things back, which is what he did in Mortal Kombat Chaos Reigns. He can also cause massive floods, which is what he did in his ending in Mortal Kombat 1. Anyway, well, sorry about that. All this talk about water, I had to go use the bathroom. Anyway, all I'm saying is that Rain is very, very powerful at hydromancy and hydrokinesis. However, this is all just my opinion. I don't know about you guys. Now let's talk about how powerful Rain would be if he had a bunch of stuff combined to him. We're going to start with Mighty Max's Cap of Destiny. That cap has the ability to transport Max anywhere he needs to go, giving him a bit of a teleportation capabilities. It can transport you anywhere, and I do mean anywhere. It once transported him into the heart of a dragon, my friends. Given the fact that the cap has the ability of quantum entanglement, teleportation is not exactly hard for it. However, this is just from what I've read, but this is just my opinion. How powerful do you think that Rain would be if he had the Cap of Destiny? Now, the Millennium Puzzle is a very complex tool. First of all, it has to be put together by someone who can read the instructions. And from what I read, the instructions are all in ancient Egyptian. However, when Yugi put it together, he gained the power of the Pharaoh himself. The Pharaoh, who is basically the best strategist in history, becoming Yami Yugi. The best strategist in history, and it also gives you a bit of power of luck. However, that's just from what I've read. I don't know about you guys, that's just from what I've read. Now let's talk about the Power Sword. The Power Sword is a very powerful weapon. It combines all of the other power weapons together to create one massive power blaster. However, the Power Sword alone is something that you want in your hands in a fight. The sword itself is sharp enough to cut through anything, including any monster. Theoretically, in theory, it can cut through dimensions itself. However, that's just from what I read. Also, the Power Sword is so strong that it once held off an entire battalion. An entire battalion of putties, my friends. However, this is just from what I've read. I don't know about the rest of you guys. How powerful do you think Rain would be if he had this weapon? With all that said and done, another episode of the Curtis Zone has come to a screeching close, ladies and gentlemen. I ask that you remember to get in the comment section down below and tell me how powerful you think that Rain would be if he had Mighty Max's Cap of Destiny, the Power Sword, and the Millennium Puzzle. Get in that comment section. Don't hold back, alright? Really let us have it, okay? Don't be shy. We get in the discussion, people. And as always, remember to hit the like and subscribe button if you want to see what comes next. As you can see down there, my next episode. I hope that you guys are ready for it. Okay? I'll see you soon. Peace.